Hey, what's up, nerds? Today we're going to crack 2 packs of Magic and compare the art. The only trick is one pack is from 1995 and the other, Foundations, is from just, last November. So as we take a look at the artwork, I'm going to be as objective as I possibly can, which everybody knows with art is pretty impossible. But I will be objective, and I will be talking about some elements and principles of art and design, including balance, contrast, emphasis, color, space, and maybe some others, but I'm definitely going to throw in there what I call my at-a-glance score, and that's when I look at the 2 cards, which one does my eye draw to first. It's going to be hard to wash away that nostalgia feel, but we're going to do the best I'm going to do the best I can. Here we are, side-by-side comparison with a core set from, nearly 30 years ago now, and a core set of just now. Crack this guy open first. Chandra! I'm not too terribly worried about what cards I pull. It's great if I pull good things, but this is mostly about comparing the artwork. The 95 version does have 15 cards versus only 14 cards in the play booster, or in the Foundations play booster, but to each their own. So we're just going to compare them one by one from the bottom of the stack. 95. Here's my, do they count the, oh, whoops, I flipped that over. All right, hey, there's a zombie. This guy doesn't count, so he's just a bonus. Got a rat and a zombie, pretty exciting. Just a bonus for them. Put that off to the side. Winning cards I'll put directly above the stack. So first card comparison. Wow, I can tell you this, the paper feels differently. These are both really good. Oh, this is hard. I do really like the light here and the contrast between everything. Now, the art in 95 is going to be simpler, and that's not really all I'm looking at. I mean, this is much more complicated, much more realistic looking. But if I glance at both of these, I gotta tell you, Blossoming Sands, you're probably going to win. So I'm going to let that go. No nostalgia for you, Aaron. Stream of Life, by the way, I think was the rare, which is not a bad card from back in the day. Just give yourself some life, or target player if you want to give somebody else life. I don't know. Why'd you do that? But oh man, now this is a hard one. Circle of Protection, blue, and Crackling Cyclops. Oh man, I'm having a hard time with this one because they both kind of look the same sort of, just central focused figure. I will say something that the 95 version does have in its favor, and I hate the Circle of Protections in general. They were really kind of dumb, but the Circle of Protection blue at least kind of has a situation, and it kind of tells a whole story. The Cyclops over here, as with a lot of modern Magic cards, is just red, and everything's red. And so I feel like I've got this central figure that I can focus on. It's a focal point. There's emphasis there, where I'm going to have to give that vote to the Circle Protection Blue. They were not my favorite choices to begin with, my favorite cards to look at to begin with. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm scooting these a little bit this way. Oh, the Fireball. I love Fireball. And Sky Knight Squire. He's a Cat Scout. Man, this is a tough one. I'm going to give it to the Fireball just because it is what it is, and it's a great card. It is what it is. Great card from back then. And it's obvious what it is, and the fact that you incorporated, the artist, Mark Teeden here, incorporated blues and oranges for that like high contrast is kind of where it takes me. I know what the focal point is. I know exactly what this is. The Sky Knight Squire, it's a good card, and the art isn't, the art's quality. I'm not feeling the drama. It doesn't have the wow factor, what I call the at a glance. So I'm going to give that one to Fireball. Oh, the grizzly bears. Oh, here's another challenging one for me. Grizzly bears. I mean, strangely enough, the background of both of these characters is pretty fuzzy. The grizzly bears gives me a little more movement and a little more contrast, I think. One way to find contrast is like squint at an object, and then you can kind of like, it takes out anything but the lights and darks. I'm gonna have to go with the grizzly bears. It is a classic image. That's not why. It's the movement. It's that focal point on the bears. There are 2 bears. It says grizzly bears. Yeah. Here's another one where Modern Magic has taken the train into Darkness Town, and Vengeful Blood Witch is a dark character, so the card is very dark. When I squint, the only thing that really stands out to me, like in contrast, is the white ascot. I think that's an ascot. Yeah, ascot around his neck. Whereas the Apprentice Wizard, this card doesn't really pop a whole lot, but it is obvious what I'm looking at. The wizard is right in the center. He's trying to figure out what to do with his stick. Where this guy's just like standing there. And just compare the contrast, because we've got reds and blues that like pop against each other. And if I squint, I see more of an image with the wizard. I'm gonna have to go that way. I don't know. Tell me how wrong I am. I'm glad for it. This is another one of those ultra generic Modern Magic blue cards where they just show the light blue spirit swirling around. I just can't do that. Fortification, really cool image. Castle sitting on a rock. I like it. It's what it is. Oh no, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. I really do like the focal point here. I feel like the character is maybe a little dark in places. There could be some contrast on the character. The Eternal Warrior, though, classic card. I've always kind of wondered what the hell was going on there, though. So I'm going to actually pick the Fanatical Firebrand out of those 2. Oh, the Creature Bond. Never did like that art. And then I get the Elfsworn Giant, which is also not tremendously graphically pleasing. That's a really hard one. I go to the contrast test. I definitely get more contrast over here with the Creature Bond. I definitely have a focal point with each one of them, like where's the emphasis. I do like that he has these white trees behind him. I like that a lot because it kind of frames him a little bit in. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I think if I was going strictly on contrast, it would be Creature Bond. And I can see her face better. I'm gonna have to pick that. It's not one of my favorite cards, but, you know, there we go. And who we have? Oh, the good old Battering Ram. Oh, and it's another super dark card. Eaten alive. I mean, cool concept. Somebody's getting eaten alive. I love it, but you really have to, like, study that to see what's going on. What would have happened had there been a lighter background around the Eaten Alive card? And Battering Ram here is just, I mean, it's not spectacular, but there's contrast, there's movement, there's drama. I know what's happening. While there's some of those things here, it's just like a muddled mess to look at that artwork. All right. Goblin Surprise or the Ironclaw Orcs? Ironclaw Orcs are pretty classic. It's another weird Anson Maddox painting. He had his style. In the Goblin Surprise. The one thing that's helping Goblin Surprise is the contrast right around the figures, but I really can't even see. I didn't see this one at first at all. And the Orcs, while the technique might not look as fanciful, I don't know, man. I just know what that is. There's just such a focus. In the other one, my focal point is drawn completely to the one white-faced goblin, and I don't even really notice the other one. I'm going to pick the Orcs. Sorry, that's just... Some of these are tough, but some of them aren't very tough. Sorry, I got to go with the Helpful Hunter right off the bat. I do like... Back in the day, you just got different styles from different artists, and Drew Tucker's style of watercolor was great. This is not one of my favorite Drew Tuckers, but like, look at the story that tells. But when I flip this over, I can't say no to the kitty cat. Look at that guy. He's so cute. So it's got to be the Helpful Hunter. Here's another interesting one. The green mana battery is super simple. A mocking sprite. There's kind of a lot going on. I feel like this image is a lot busier. And there is something to be said for the images, like an image from back in the day being simple and direct and to the point. But at the same time, I really do like some of the image. I just feel like the body doesn't have enough to bring it out, to bring the detail out when I just glance at that card. Like, I like that she was placed in a lighter space of the image. But what would happen if that was reversed a little bit? I don't know. I'm actually going to go with the mana battery. This just doesn't work for me. I do like the flower. We tried to work a little extra color in there. Oh, yeah. Simulacrum. And the Beastkin Ranger. This just looks like action hero, everything that always happens in Magic cards anymore. I like the balance here. The thing is, this is the Ranger, right? But if I kind of give it that like squinted eye look, and the contrast, the focal point just all goes to the wolf, which is fine. I just find so many of the modern cards really dark around the edges, and just the image gets muddied a little bit. I like the simulacrum. I can't really say it very well, but I like that a lot. It's got the balance of like this guy going and conjuring the copy of himself. It's a tough one. I think I'm gonna go with the simulacrum though. All right, last card to compare. Oh, see, now that's one I really like. Ashes to Ashes. And Stab. I mean, this could be anything. I get that he's stabbing him, so stab. But here's another example of like the foreground characters look like they're standing in shadow and don't have much detail. Drew Tucker, you're going to win this time, just because Ashes to Ashes, you might look at it and go, well, what the hell's that? I don't know. It evokes that mood of like things are getting destroyed. And, not a great card, because you get to take 2 creatures out of the game, but you take 5 damage. So, Swords to Plowshares was much better. I would have liked this better with those foreground characters having the light. And this one doesn't go in either pile, but it is Lure. That was fun. Oh man, back in the day when you had a basilisk, a thorn, what was it called? A thicket basilisk, and Lure, and you'd slap those 2 together, and people had to attack them. It was so great. So clearly, at least visually, from what I saw, I could read the 4th edition cards better. They had better focus and focal point. Now, there were some very successful ones from the Foundation set. And you notice what each of them kind of has is a high level of contrast. Whereas the ones that I didn't choose are often kind of muddy with the colors in the background. So that's my vote. 4th edition wins. There are some beautiful cards, and the artwork is very crisp on a lot of these modern cards, but they just are so muddied, and I don't feel like the design is all quite there. But the card of the opening for me was this kitty cat. How can you say no to the kitty cat who brings you a little... That's going to focus. Now I got to focus. How can you say no to that guy? I don't know. So tell me how wrong I was in the comments below. Love you guys. Take care. Have a great week.